In the early hours of this morning, Trump Organization CFO Allen Weisselberg surrendered to authorities in the state of New York ahead of the indictment against him that is going to be unsealed later this afternoon. In addition to Weisselberg being indicted, the Trump Organization itself will also be indicted this afternoon. So, on social media, everybody's celebrating. This is the beginning of the end of the Trump Organization, right? I mean, we're not expecting indictments today against Donald Trump or any of his kids, but the investigation's still going to go on, and that could eventually happen. But I hate to be the one to pump the brakes here a little bit, but let's all tamper our expectations about what's actually going to happen. I even read an article earlier this morning where they had, a dozen former prosecutors explaining why this, is the death knell of the entire Trump Organization. His hotels, his resorts, they're going down for this. This is not going to happen, folks. I'm sorry to have to be the one to say this, but that is not happening today. The main issues that we're likely going to see out of the indictments today are that the Trump Organization gave Weisselberg and other executives financial and non-monetary gifts, which neither group paid taxes on. It's about as boring as you can get. It doesn't mean that the Trump Organization is going to be having a massive going out of business sale later today. It doesn't mean that we're going to see other executives being hauled away in handcuffs. It just means that these individuals are likely going to be fined. And then they're going to be fine. That's probably what's going to happen today. Again, nobody knows for certain other than the prosecutors in New York. But I think it's a little early to be popping those champagne corks, folks. This is not the beginning of the end of the Trump Organization. This is not the Trump family, circling the drain here. Now, sure, they could still absolutely in the future face very serious charges. And I do think that that is where all of this is headed. But we're not getting any of that today. What we're getting today are the most minor of charges that the grand jury was able to go ahead and say, yes, we agree, this is there, go ahead and do your indictment. That's what's happening today. Weisselberg, obviously, a big fish within the Trump Organization, but in the investigation, a rather smaller fish. So you hit him with the lower charges, the lesser charges, like, hey, you failed to pay taxes, you failed to report all these gifts you were getting from Trump. So we're going to pop you on that, and maybe we can reduce it a little bit if you're willing to cooperate. I believe that is what is taking place with this investigation. Now, whether or not he cooperates, we don't know yet. We could see that in the end, but again, there's too many question marks. There's far too much that we do not know to be celebrating what's happening today. Yes, it's great that people who, pretty obviously at this point, due to the indictments, likely broke the law, it's great that there's going to be a little bit of accountability. But this is not going to cause the Trump Organization to shut down. This is not going to lead to Weisselberg going and spending the next 20 years in prison. This doesn't mean that every building with the Trump name on it is going to be pulling it down in triumph later today. These charges coming out today, these indictments are relatively minor. And the penalty for pretty much all of them, based on what we know, is just a fine. They're going to pay some money and they're going to move on. The only thing we can hope for is that the investigators are not finished. Because if this is all we get, then this was a giant nothing burger, folks. But if the investigation is ongoing, if the grand jury does not, disassemble today, then we're good. And we know that more charges will likely be coming in the future. But that is the only thing we know right now. We don't know what the specific charges will be. So temper your expectations a little bit, folks, because I'm willing to bet it's not going to be as, many fireworks as you think there are. One of today's video sponsors is Munk Pack, the makers of these wonderful nut and seed bars that taste a lot like some of your favorite sugary snacks, but contain 1 gram of sugar or less, only 2 to 3 net grams of carbs, and of course, 150 calories. So these are a great alternative to those sugary treats that I know we all love so much. And right now, Munk Pack has a very special offer for our Ring of Fire viewers.
Go to munkpack.com. That's munkpack.com. Enter code ROF at checkout and you'll get 20% off your order. And Munkpack is so confident in their product that it's backed with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll exchange the product or refund your money, whichever you prefer. Munkpack Keto Nut and Seed Bars have a perfect balance of sweet and salty, a crunch from whole nuts and seeds, but still manage to be soft and chewy. They come in delicious flavors like sea salt dark chocolate, caramel sea salt, and peanut butter dark chocolate. Again, these have actually become some of my go-to snacks to help get me off of all the sugary snacks that I love so very much. And again, right now, go to Munkpack, that's munkpack.com, enter the code ROF at checkout, and you'll get 20% off your order.